Okay. Hi and welcome to The Secret. My name is Bevan. Thank you for joining me on part 2 of a 3-part episode. I'd also like to thank my special guest, Mr Joe Fidow.
Thank you.
For coming in and completing our conversation we had.
Mm-hmm.
And what an interesting conversation we had.
Indeed.
Mate, I just wanted to say it's pretty good. The viewers, like, I'm still a bit shocked with it. Like, I didn't expect the response that it received. Your page was like,
like it was amazing. Like people warming up to the story, and that's what it's all about, man.
It was awesome.
It's just speaking the truth, man. That's what it is.
It was absolutely awesome. And I just also want to say a big thank you to the viewers. For those people, you know, it's bizarre. This is all new to me. So it wasn't, you know, I had people subscribing and I was like, oh, fuck.
Thank you.
That's
you.
Awesome. Some of the comments was just unbelievable. People sending in personal messages.
Yep.
The response was just awesome. So thank you so much to everyone that was viewing it, that took the time out to actually watch. I think it ran for about an hour.
About an hour and a bit.
An hour. And, it was, I think we left it at a cliffhanger. On the last one.
Yeah, well, I was warming up to that point, and then boom.
And we couldn't. We actually planned to do it a lot sooner, but it just didn't work out that way.
Yep.
Our cameraman. Can I blame it on our cameraman?
Our cameraman had other jobs, so just remember that he's
busy. He's a busy. After that first episode, he got a lot of work out of it. But in saying that, the other thing I also want to thank is there's two very special people that we also want to thank that sort of gave us the support that was needed to do what we did, and we weren't, you know, we never felt 100% comfortable on doing what we did. You know, we've sat down and we've spoken about it, and but it was good to have the feedback that we did, and
support,
this was obviously your daughter Lyric Fidow and also my daughter Alexis Joubert, and you know, to have them give us that booster shot was awesome. So thank you guys.
Special shout out to them.
Thank you very much for your support. I love you guys.
Love you.
Mate, where do we
start?
Where did we leave it?
So we were talking about the contract.
Contract.
Yes.
Contract.
As you can see, the last part, my legs start moving.
Yes.
I wanted to jump in right there.
Yes.
But it's all good, man.
We left it at a period where you guys had been signed, everything is happening, and there was this. Was it a miscommunication, or was it something that? What happened there that this almost fell apart?
Okay, so the contract that was originally offered by Matthew O'Connor was a contract that would tie us down publishing, recording, and management.
Hang on, say that again.
Publishing.
Yes.
Recording.
Yep.
Management.
Okay.
All in one.
All in one.
All in one. Which is
standard.
It's equivalent to a, 36 deal.
The
360 deal.
360 deal. Okay, for people who don't understand a 360 deal, just to give a brief understanding on what a 360 deal is between.
360 deal is something that's been out for a little while now, but I reckon it started way back before that.
Okay.
It's just that they don't drop it and let you know this is their secret.
Yep.
But if you weren't aware of it, it means anything that you earn, they get a cut out of it.
So that's anything and everything, or?
Anything in everything. Endorsement, sponsorship, whatever you call it.
So okay. Guys, we have jumped head first into the deep end.
This is deep.
So the record company profits from everything?
Of course.
So this contract is between yourselves and your producer, or?
So the agreement that Matthew offered was, this is before we signed the Warner deal, right? We got to get this right.
Yep.
Warner deal has been offered before this signing to this agreement with Matt. Matthew had these 3 elements for us to sign. And I said to the boys, we discussed this. And hang on a second. We want to go direct with Warner. If we sign this, maybe Matthew was pushing for a label deal, which is why he would want this to be signed before we sign direct to Warner.
Okay.
So we pull the handbrake.
Hang on. So whose intention? So Warner. So I mean, Warner have spoken to you outside of this, or is Matthew negotiating on behalf of?
Matthew's negotiating with Warner, which is Mark Poe.
Okay.
And he had this agreement that he wanted us to sign.
So for example, Warner is saying, okay, this is what we're offering.
Yes.
And then he's gone, okay, well, this is what I'm going to offer.
Yes.
And you guys aren't happy with the offer?
No, because we want to go direct. When we heard that we got a deal with Warner coming in, or supposedly saying that we had interest from Warner to sign us direct.
Okay.
But hang on. Matthew wanted to get this agreement signed before we signed to the major deal.
Okay.
Which is the Warner deal.
Okay.
And I spoke to the boys and I said, hang on, it just doesn't seem right.
Yep.
Let's think about this. We need our own manager because we were very inexperienced. We didn't know this coming in.
Yeah.
But for some reason, like, it just didn't feel it. Didn't feel it was the right thing.
Yeah.
And because Boys in Black, like I said in the past, on part 1, that Matthew had them before we came through.
Yes.
And I didn't want us to fall under the same umbrella.
Okay.
Meaning signing this deal.
Yeah.
And we're going to be a part of what Boys in Black and Matthew had.
So none of this is brought to the forefront, or has this been discussed prior as music is being created, or is this just now being dropped on the table and said, I need you boys to sign this deal? And
absolutely. Like, during the time I was busy with the boys writing up songs for the album, this agreement was hanging over our shoulders.
Okay.
So it was a pressure for us because we knew that in order for us to get Warner's deal,
it's the carrot.
This was on our shoulders. Like, so we had to make sure we clear this shed out before we go to Warner. I don't know how it was going to come out. That was Matthew's intentions.
Okay. So
we put a stop to it.
Yes.
By saying to Matthew, we're not signing. Matthew wasn't happy, and we walked. Okay, the reason why we have to walk is because we just felt that this wasn't right. Otherwise, it would be just like Boys in Black.
Yeah.
Matthew signed them on everything, and we didn't want to repeat that. Why?
So what occurs? What happens after that?
So this is where we searched for a new management. We stepped out.
Yep. So there's no management prior. You don't have any management. You don't have. So everything is being controlled pretty much in house. Everything was controlled
in-house. Under one.
Okay. One umbrella. Yep.
And so for us to do this, it was like we are going to lose so much.
Yeah.
And that was the gamble that we took. So we stepped out. Yeah?
Yeah.
So we stepped out and we found our manager. Our management team, Russell Hilton Smith and Randall Joubert.
Yes.
Therefore, we discussed with them what's going on, explain to them the situation.
Yes.
And therefore, we signed with them.
Yep.
And they were able to come in and renegotiate that agreement.
after everything, look, and again, I'm just going to be devil's advocate here in saying that Matthew's pretty much controlled this. This whole operation has been orchestrated by Matthew. So as far as it being studio equipment and everything that's pretty much happening here, the foresight to be able to grab a group that is, you know, pretty much not no
Untapped,
one nothing. It's raw and polishes it, and that is a big risk.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what Matthew's angle was. We understood that. But hang on a second. We got a major interested, and it just didn't make sense.
So which part of that are you not happy with? Which part of that contractual agreement are you guys not happy with?
Because we wanted to go direct to a major. Now, signing Matthew's publishing, management, and recording all under one agreement.
So Matthew basically wanted to manage the group as well.
Absolutely.
So, okay, so you retain everything else, but you get separate management, or do you change the whole contract? Is the whole contract then restructured, or what happens once Russell and Randall come in?
Well, because when Russell and Randall came in, there were clauses in that agreement that was changed to suit us going with Warner, and Matthew still had part because he became the producer of the first album and second album.
The producer of the first and second album.
That's right.
But I also understand that you guys had a 5-album deal.
The 5-album deal is that was the offer from Warner, based on all the demos that
was done. That was pretty much a first for
Absolutely.
an R&B.
Absolutely.
I don't know of anyone that. So that's a pretty big deal. So Matthew's obviously given 2. You were saying
2-album deal.
2-album deal. Okay. So in all fairness, I'd be trying to get pretty much as I can if I've only got out of 5-album deal.
Absolutely. That's why I was saying I understand Matthew's angle because he wanted to secure 5 albums.
Yes.
Because he knew the deal already before
yes,
we signed.
Okay.
So he most probably wanted to actually secure the 5-album deal. He stays on the 5-album deal and it's done. But our problem was, why sign us under Mo Brown with the publishing, management, and recording when there's Warner's deal sitting there?
So you just I mean, and that's the nature of the beast. I guess you're looking out for your best interest.
Absolutely.
So,
I mean,
and the boys at this time, are they understanding what's?
Yes, we actually went through
on?
We spoke about a lot of things. We've discussed this matter numerous times, and we went through it, and we knew our options and things like that as an artist.
Yep.
We're still coming into understanding what the whole thing about recording and record labels and stuff. We're still new to the game, but this one thing, we just felt like it wasn't the right thing for us to sign. So
now, so obviously your management come in now, and that they're basically batting for the boys. And
their best interest is us.
That's right.
As any management will come in and fight for the artist's rights, and basically that's what they did.
And there's obviously a bit of tension in the process.
There was.
So has the moods changed in regards to?
Well, it was because when we had our management come in, we could feel the tension between ourselves and Matt O'Connor.
Okay.
But now, this is business now.
Yeah.
Put aside your personal.
100%.
But this is our life. This is our future. This is what we came in to do, and we want to get it done right from the beginning.
100%.
So, even though Matthew had more experience than us, it doesn't mean like we're going to sign anything without, hang on a second, let's just take a minute, step aside, discuss this. this is our life. This is our future.
100%.
This is our career.
100%.
Pretty much. And so we want to get it right.
And so where does this go from here? Obviously, there's discussion between the record company now. There's a few things that need to be altered.
Well, the first thing, sorry, buddy, the first thing that needed to be concrete here is to settle the deal between our management,
yes,
and Matthew, and make some changes with what Matthew offered us under his label Mo Brown,
yes,
so that we can actually sign to Warner.
What were they asking in? I mean, what's the standard percentage rate for?
So normally a record label would sign an act that has a manager. We got our new manager,
yes,
instead of George Said, because George Said was managing BRB, the Boys in Black.
yes.
We didn't want that. We wanted our own private manager away from Matthew's organization, which is Mo Brown Studio Production,
Yes,
with management and publishing.
yes.
We didn't want that.
Okay.
So we wanted independent management,
Yeah.
ourselves.
Yeah.
And then we signed a deal.
So, Joe, what I'm going to do here is I've obviously got the hookup with one of your former manager, Mr. Russell Hilton Smith.
Randall?
No, I actually got Russell. So
Okay.
I actually, prior to this, I spoke to him and I said to him, at that particular point, I want to give you a yell and just to get a little insight.
Nice.
So let me give him a quick yell and see if he's available. Oh yeah, he's ringing.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Russell Hilton Smith, I presume.
That's me.
Mate,
Good evening.
how you going?
Yeah, I'm very well, Bevan. How about yourself?
Oh, not too bad. Look, mate, I'm just in the process of doing this the 3-part series with Joe Fidow on the culture, the culture music scene and the industry, and I know I rang you during the week and I said to you, look, I hope it's possible, because part of the interview was sort of leading towards the contractual aspect, where you guys sort of came in at a particular time where this thing almost fell apart for the boys.
Correct.
And they then went out and sourced management, and this is where you guys sort of came in. But the thing I wanted to ask was, Russell, I'm sorry, mate, I'm sitting here with Joe as well. So say,
Hey, Russell.
Maestro, pleasure to share the airway with you. Pleasure.
It's great to hear your voice again.
Always.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been, mate.
Mate, all I wanted to ask you was, at that particular time, the deal that Kulcha was going to sign themselves into, can you just give us a quick little insight to how that deal was sort of structured?
Happy to do that, Bevan. But before we dive in, and I know your time is constrained here, I'm going to make this as tight as possible. But I did want to give a shout out to yourself and for your viewers that actually haven't listened to that the first offering. It's a real masterclass, and I enjoyed it, and I'm sure you got some fantastic feedback. And I encourage great. I encourage everyone that's diving into the second episode. Please don't miss the first
Thank
episode.
you. No, thank you so
Russell.
much, mate. Thank you.
And it was a masterclass, and you'll see a side of Joe that I've always known. There were some surprises there, but it was a great thing. So
Heartfelt, yeah.
Again, listeners, do yourself a favour and
You're a legend.
Start from the beginning.
You're a legend.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
And look, to your question, it's a great question, and I think Joe knows this, and this was a goose that was cooked. Let me tell you that. So as we came in, Bevan, as management, this deal was already a deal that I call, and in some parts of the industry they'll use different terminology, but this was a producer-led deal.
Sure.
So Matt O'Connor, to his credit with this, led this deal, and when myself and my partner Randall arrived on the scene, this deal, the heads of agreement is like this 5-page thing. Yes. that we received, and Joe would remember too that Joe had given me 5 or 6 different contracts that Mo Brown, aka Matt O'Connor,
sure,
wanted that signed with the band. So producer-led deal, and we really didn't want to upset the apple cart.
Sure.
Look, Warner's East West Records,
yes.
They were interested. You can read articles, Bevan, today. There's an article written by a guy that sought me out in 2016. 2016.
Wow.
Some 22 years later, my math's rubbish, but I think it's about 22 years later. This guy talks about the 5 bands that kicked off the whole R&B
Pretty
thing.
much, yes.
Incredible.
Yes.
And I'll quote this. I'll quote this guy because I'll send it for you and your viewers so you can link
awesome.
to the article as well. And this is what this guy said. His name is Steve Duck.
Yes. And
Steve Duck spoke to me, and Steve's classic because Steve says there's no list. There's no list of Australian forgotten R&B chart toppers, without including Kulcha.
100%.
He just goes there.
100%.
He goes there. He talks about Denny Hines. He talks about CBD, and this was about the time that CBD was thinking about reconstituting. But in 2016, the guy said, you can't talk about R&B.
100%.
You can't talk about any of this without Kulcha.
100%. Yeah, wow.
And so go back 22 years, and there we are with the heads of agreement from East West Records, Warner Music, and Bevan. No one knows what to do.
Yeah.
The record company doesn't know what to do with this stuff.
Absolutely.
And this is a story of just raw talent.
100%.
This is Joe Fidow,
100%.
raw talent.
100%.
This is the story of this guy that he's got this belief. He's as your first episode revealed.
Yes.
He's got this belief, and so myself and my partner, we just made sure that we set aside all those crazy, unconscionable contracts that Matthew had signed with Joe and the band, and Matt didn't believe that either. He knew that he could.
Well, I mean, again, as a business, Matthew is doing everything, in regards to minimum input, maximum output types, you know what I mean?
And I think that is a classic way of putting it. And I'm going to be a little bit controversial here, but just run with me. Kulcha. We signed the deal. Kulcha, without Joe Fidow, there'd be no Kulcha. Right. So that's not controversial in itself.
Mate, if you could see his face right now, he's got this big smile on his dial.
I appreciate that.
But
But I'm going to be more controversial. That's the first step. I'm going to take this further because I think your viewers need to understand.
Yes,
I'm humbled by
there
that. Thank you.
Pleasure. There is no Mo Brown. I'm going out here on a limb. There is no Mo Brown without Joe Fidow.
Sure.
And there is no Matt O'Connor. The success of Matt O'Connor. There is no Matt O'Connor without Joe Fidow.
Well, that's controversial. That is controversial, and it's arguable, but it is an opinion you had. You were there. You seen the work that was put in, and you saw the work that was produced from.
Absolutely, and I guess that myself and Randall, when the deal was done, the heads of agreement, and just to walk you through that, so we just wanted to set up some basic guardrails
Sure.
for the band and the band's future. These Joe knows this. These heads of agreement are just 5 pages of you sign your soul away.
Pretty much.
That's what it is. And everyone gets excited if you're young.
That's right.
You're
That's
getting
right.
a 5.
We did.
Yeah, 5 record deal.
That's right.
You go in anything, everything. I'll do anything. I'll do everything.
Pretty much.
And so our job, and we did, and it looked like, and the pressure was on Warner, particularly Mark Pope, because he thought we wanted to renegotiate. We didn't want to stymie the deal. We didn't want to stop the deal.
You guys become hated at this point. Like this is like.
Oh look, there's all sorts of things and pressure, particularly from Warner Music. Enormous pressure.
Russell, I need to cut you here because we are still going to do our podcast.
Absolutely.
And our episode where I sit down with you and you're going to give me an in-depth to this whole.
I can't wait.
To that,
I can't wait. And listen, I'm looking forward to watching this one. I can't wait.
Awesome.
Hey Russell.
Yes, my friend.
Thank you very much for that. I appreciate that.
That's from my heart. That's what happened, and that's the honesty thing, and
Legend.
that's what we're doing here.
And thank you for your part of saving the deal, because you and Randall came in and you concreted that deal and made some changes with Matthew's agreement that he initially offered us to sign before the major deal was signed.
My friend, I'd do it all again.
And you know those deals.
Really?
I'm talking about management, publishing, and recording under the same roof. That's Mo Brown.
Absolutely.
So
I would, Bevan. I heard you. I'm so much smarter.
Oh, yes. Imagine.
Yeah. And listen, you go, Joe.
No, I was just saying that's what we needed. We needed some guidance from someone independent, and that's why we wanted our own management from the first, from the start.
It was,
and listen,
and again, we're going to get into this, but it would have, for that time, it was quite a different time that this happened in. This was so new, I think, and that's what I don't think people fully understand the fact that the whole R&B culture thing, management, this was so new at that particular time, because the people that you were dealing with at that particular time were all bred into the industry, and they all come from backgrounds. This wasn't. There was no association. This was fresh.
And you're dead right. And for your listeners, let's just remind people, we are getting close to almost 30 years ago.
100%.
Isn't that amazing?
100%.
I'm not worried about my age. Joe's an artist, and Joe would never tell his age. And Bevan, you never have to.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So 30 years.
I was being smart, Russell.
Listen, mate, I'm going to cut you off because we could go on forever, and I want to get back to doing Joe.
Okay,
but, mate, thank you
Russell.
so much.
Love you guys.
You too,
Love
mate.
you too,
Talk
bro.
to you soon, huh? Cheers, Russ.
Okay.
All right, bud.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wow, that was awesome.
Wow.
There you go,
It's
Joe.
great to hear from the...
Hey, talk about tickling. Talk about being feathered.
Wow.
Well, there's your ex. How long? You haven't spoken.
So
to
there
Russell.
you have it.
When was the last time you spoke to Russell?
Oh, man. It's like, what did he say, 30 years?
No, going into, but yeah.
I would say, like, last time we spoke to him was... Oh, man.
Long time ago.
Long
It
time
looks like
ago.
you're gonna shed a tear, bro.
Yeah, look.
How did they do their job?
The guy did his job. Like, they did their job. Russell and Randall actually saved the deal, and we made it through because of that.
So eventually everything gets ironed out, and you now have Russell, and I mean, obviously hearing what Russell is saying in regards to how the industry in some way, shape or form is sort of almost rejecting
Absolutely.
them,
Absolutely.
because they're coming in to disrupt.
I mean, they always get what they want. But
Yeah,
when they have someone that comes in and, and chipping at something that,
yeah,
that supports or on the artist's favor,
yeah.
they get a bit edgy, man.
Get a bit.
They get a bit edgy.
You know where I wanted to go here as well is, so okay, so let's put this aside in saying that, okay, so, and I mean there's so much you could speak on in that
I could go for
area
days.
in regards to how deals are made and
Absolutely.
like, I think if any advice is to be given, it's pretty much for any artist going in is understand the mechanics of.
Look, you got to understand what you're signing.
Yeah.
Get a legal advice, get a lawyer, and I'm talking about a music lawyer, not just any lawyer.
Yeah.
That understands the terminology in these contracts.
Deals don't get done. They don't get done like that these days. I mean, shit, there's that much.
A lot of deals these days is verbally, and
and I
people
suppose
just go in blind, and it's different, completely different. But my advice to you, if you're a new up-and-coming artist, want to get in the industry, man, check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Oh, there you go.
Like, seriously.
There you go.
Like, truth.
The one thing I also wanted to go into was, so everything is now resolved in regards to the signing. Contracts are signed. And you guys...
So I just want to cut... Sorry. So when Russell and Randall came in...
Yes.
Renegotiated with Matthew the terms of the agreement that initially wanted us to sign.
Yes.
We got our manager, and we brought our manager back in, renegotiated that deal.
Yes.
And we were able to move forward and sign Warner's.
And this...
Warner deal.
The Warner deal. So Warner's happy with everything. And this was for that first album, and then obviously for...
This is the whole deal.
The whole deal.
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful.
So Warner was happy. We signed the deal.
Yes.
Matthew got his agreement with Warner to do the first and second.
Album, yes.
Third, fourth, fifth was open.
Okay.
Pretty much.
So you complete the first album.
First album was completed.
Everyone's happy.
Everyone's happy.
It's quite a success as well, because off that first album comes Shaka Jam.
Shaka Jam, Don't Be Shy, Soul Feeling, Fly Girl.
Yep.
Those are the 4 singles that came out of our first album.
And that had some really good response.
That had some great success.
With that, you tore
early 94 we signed.
Yes.
E17 toured Australia.
Yes.
And we had Shaka Jam out.
Yes.
Shaka Jam was hitting the charts, and we got picked to tour with E17.
Yes.
E17 left. Not long after that, Salt and Pepper arrived.
Yes.
Shaka Jam was climbing.
Still going, yes.
And so we were selected. We were picked to actually support Salt and Pepper.
Yes.
I go on?
Yes, keep going.
Salt and Pepper left, and guess who arrived? Boys to Men arrived.
Yes.
And we got that support as well. All based on the singles that's in the charts.
Yes.
So if you have a single that's in the top 20, depending on what genre, you definitely get the supporting act, because that's what they look at.
And you guys also
look at the stats.
You guys also tour pretty much all through Asia.
So we toured right through from 94 to 96, Boys to Men, and then there was Janet Jackson, there was the Fugees, and there was Casey and JoJo, and All For One.
Come home, recoup. What happens on the second album?
I forgot. Sorry, my bad. No. I forgot one. Michael Jackson's sister, Janet Jackson, toured. That was our last.
What happened with that? Did you guys didn't get the gig for that though?
Yes, we did. Long story short, Warner refused for us to actually tour with Janet. So
hang on, Warner refuses.
Warner refused because they had us booked in for the 9 different countries in Asia, Southeast Asia promotion tour. Sorry.
Yep.
So therefore, we weren't able to actually get on the plane and continue the tour with Janet through to Asia and Europe. Yep. That's the eighth leg tour.
Yep.
So So then we were very shattered, man. We were disappointed. Like,
so what was
why?
there was a write-up as well.
Yes, and then all the years, and you believed, you know, that this is what
Happened.
was said.
Yes.
This is what.
Yes.
And little, you know, there was a little secret that was the truth that was hidden.
The truth manages to surface itself.
I got on the internet and started surfing, and I was just like, you know, I was just
browsing
and researching on all the articles and everything on Billboard.
Yeah.
And somehow I came across this article, and it caught my attention. I was like, hang on a second.
What did the article say?
The article says, and it states that Kulcha refused or let Janet Jackson down when she asked us to tour.
That's a big statement.
I was like, hang on a second, let me read that again. Like,
Kulcha messed up.
And, you know, what? Seriously? That's what really,
so
we were blamed for this?
Threw you under the bus.
Seriously, man, we were over the moon.
But why wouldn't they let you?
Okay, because I guess because of the crossing over, like, you know, Janet tour happened at the same time that we were supposed to be in Asia.
Yeah.
For the Asian promotion tour. And so therefore they chose us. They chose for us to go to Asia instead of going with Janet.
Yeah.
That would have been
the
big.
Most that would have been huge.
100%. Opportunity for us.
So they had to justify sending. So the best way to do it is just blame.
Like I said, I found the article, and that was the first time I saw this article, and that was the first time I
think it's also to let people, like, the amount of
that was the
bullshit
real truth right
that
there.
You had to endure on this.
And the whole time we knew nothing about it.
Nothing about it. Let me go into because there's so much you could speak on, but unfortunately time is.
Yeah.
But the other thing I wanted to speak on, we get to the second album, and the second album doesn't work as effectively as the first.
Yes, the second album, you know, we had to. We sat down in the studio. We discussed our next direction with the second album. However, you know, direction that was given by the record label and Matthew O'Connor was we needed to go this way a little bit. For, you know, I'll go back to what I said on part one, where our initial vibe from the beginning,
yes,
we wanted to stay with the, you know,
that street
vibe,
yes,
and just raw as possible and be who we want to be.
So you guys have got no say in this, or is it just
pretty much didn't have much saying in it because Warner had decided that, you know, and Matthew, we had a little bit, maybe 20% in there.
Okay. So the second album commences, but I also understand, Joe, that there is now a sort of a different vibe in the group. The intellectual properties become a bit distorted, and, you know.
Look, if I can remember back on the first album,
yes,
I'll take you back on the first album. Most of the programming or the songwriting on the first album was mainly me and the boys.
Yes.
Matthew had a little bit of input, but that's just the way it is.
Yes.
That's just the way it was for us. We didn't know any better. He knew the business.
Yes.
We were learning.
Well, that's part of, being an executive producer, it's not just
exactly
the production, it's everything that
so
comes
I did a lot of work with the boys. We did majority of the writing and the structuring and stuff and so forth. Matthew, you know, had his 10 cents in there.
Yeah.
And we were happy with the first album, and we got it out.
Yeah.
And it became, you know, very successful for us.
Yeah, well,
second album came.
Yep.
We had to, you know, sit down again and go through, okay, what are we going to do? How are we going to tackle this? What direction are we going to take? And then it was, okay, here's the direction from Matthew and Warner. We sat and, okay, well, and then the boys also wanted to actually have more input in the production.
Sure.
They wanted to further their songwriting, moving into becoming, co-producing and
Sure.
so forth.
Sure.
And I said, well, you know what, let's open it right up, and who's keen to come in and blah blah blah,
And
and start, developing their skills and
Sure.
becoming whatever you want to become. Because
Contributing to this
that's
project.
what the business was.
Yeah, 100%.
For me, it's the best way to be.
Yeah.
To learn as much as you can while you got this chance.
So what happens here? Like,
So then, I came in and I did 20%, and the boys and Matthew did 80% of the second album.
okay.
And that's how it came about. It wasn't because I didn't want to be a part of it, but it was like, okay, well, here's your chance. Like, to Jay, Richard, and Eric, and Matthew.
Because bottom line, the second album wasn't a success.
It wasn't. But like I said, it's just the way things were. And, I wasn't the executive producer that would make that call. The first album,
So what went wrong here? What was the...
Well, this is not about me, but because of the first album, I felt a little bit like I was undercut with the fact that I deserved the actual co-producer
title? Yeah.
title.
Yep.
And so when the second album was
And credit in regards
and credit,
Yep.
and then when the second album came about, when we were discussing the second album, I felt that, well,
So the offer's not made on the second album to say, okay, come in as co-producer, and because
none of that was offered. I guess Matthew just kept it the way the first album.
well, Matthew's only got 2 albums to do.
Exactly. But I think the wiser thing to do is open it right up and give people credits where it's due, and it would have helped.
Joe, so in saying that, you're saying basically to you open it up so that all the boys get a chance to express their
songwriting abilities.
Sure.
At the same time, understanding what the points are.
Is it fair to say there's not much in it here for you?
No, I think the fact that it was more or less the boys. I wanted the boys to shine a little bit more on the second album because they've been talking about, getting involved in the production more.
Yeah.
And so forth. But like I said, I did 20% of it. I went in and did what I need to do. As Matthew put it, like, everyone writes 5 songs on their own and then bring it in.
Sure.
And so I did exactly that.
In regards to the points, when you say the points, how is the points divvied up in a situation like this? What?
Okay, so the percentage for songwriting,
Yes.
as okay, this is how I'm gonna break it down to. So there's music, 100%
Yes.
on its own. Lyrics, 100%. When you combine the two together, it's a 100. So then you got to split it between who's co-writing this one song.
Sure.
If it's 4 blokes, 5 blokes, up to you, 20-20 cross board. Or it's entirely up to you, like whoever came up with the idea.
Sure.
And then call upon the others to come in and collaborate.
And this has been agreed amongst the parties, and this is contractual?
Not necessarily. It was basically call upon whoever as we went.
Okay.
There was no contract that says you lead the way and everybody else, it was just a spontaneous thing like happened in the studio.
Sure.
When you write. But because we were a group anyway.
Sure.
We had all the boys in the studio. So
having that in mind, and again, this is such a broad area that we can go into, but let's take it to the second album obviously doesn't have the same success, and the record company then pulls the pin on.
No, the record company didn't pull the pin. The decision for us to actually pull back or pull out of our deal,
sure,
if that's what you're referring to, it was basically our decision
to not continue.
And complete the 5-album deal.
Why?
We did not owe any money to the record label.
Yes.
We were fair and square. We recouped the money that was, put up front for our records and stuff. We just felt like it was time for us to bounce on our own terms.
And you feel that was a wise decision made, or because I'm being given a 5-album deal, it would be, we know we've got to sacrifice first and second, but in a strategic sort of world, there would be, okay, sacrifice 1 and 2, that goes to Matthew and whoever, but then we've got 3, 4, and 5 to be able to work something out.
Absolutely. We had the opportunity to continue on.
Yeah.
But due to a lot of things that happen along the way, it kind of, for me personally, I didn't want to continue anymore. And I mentioned that to the boys because I want to pursue a producer's career.
Okay.
To becoming a producer in the future and stuff. But then with all the stuff that happened, it made me realize that, hang on, do I see myself stretching this 5-year and not making any money back to what I initially intended to, like?
Yeah.
The big picture for me wasn't there anymore because I see that, hang on, someone's profiting.
Sure.
And we weren't.
As a business, and this is what it is, like, these deals are made to make money.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But to me, going from what you had produced, the next thing would be, well, your options are quite open here in regards, and I guess the big question is, once you've walked away, no one sort of picks up Kulcha from there. So as far as Warner is concerned, so no one else goes, okay, well, Joe, we've seen what you guys have created. Why was that? Like,
for some reason, I don't know why, because maybe if they, look into it deeper, they would have picked up that we are capable of actually producing ourselves. We had all the skills. 3rd, 4th, and 5th album, we could have done.
So maybe you should have just stayed.
Maybe, but we chose not to.
Because it would have really been going from the guy to the Blackstreet sort of thing. You know what I mean? Going from, because you had pretty much a fresh sound and for that time. And I know it was also a time where hip hop was really starting to.
Yeah, like I said, the decision was made, and we just came out one day and say, look, that's it for all of us.
The relationship between the 4 boys, is it still strong? Do you guys?
Yeah, there was no issues.
Is there any future works or collaborations of?
That's still yet to to happen. We've been talking about over years about doing some remixes and stuff.
You guys got any rights to the music that had been created?
Our work has been owned by our label.
Sure.
And therefore,
when you say work, these are your masters.
Yeah, absolutely. This is our masters. We're talking about our masters. According to the contract. Don't believe everything you read in the contract because it completely means something else.
What it stipulates.
When we left our agreement, contract was terminated. And therefore, we don't own our masters. The masters stay with the label. And surprisingly...
For how long?
So there's 70 to 80 years or beyond your record label, if you're a sign act, belongs to your label. They own all your copyrights.
So you can't promote...
We cannot promote or use any of our own material on any of our promotions. Anything that happens after we left.
The name,
everything has been claimed under your label, like according to that contract.
Wow.
So really, yeah,
Wow.
it means you can't
Means
just
you're
walk away,
stuffed.
you know. So this is what I'm saying. Like the industry that we thought we came into,
Yeah.
was going to take care of our situation, take care of us.
It's almost like the saying, the road to hell is paved with good intention.
Absolutely.
You guys, I mean, going to part one of our conversation, from humble beginnings to achieving, obviously, the status that you guys achieved, and
I'll be lying to you if it did, because it didn't, and that's what made me realize that I don't want to be a slave.
yeah,
I don't want to be a slave to this label, because the labels pretty much put us out there, which is what they're supposed to do according to the contract. But as far as loyalty and as, well, our masters, we cannot earn anything from it.
the record companies and the people involved, they're doing their job.
Absolutely.
They're not there to
Absolutely.
spoon feed or babysit. And if you're old enough to sign a contract, you're eligible, and you've agreed upon
Granted.
the terms and conditions, and
Granted.
so you can't you can't
No,
buy
I'm
the
not.
spilt milk and go, oh,
Absolutely. I'm not specifically pointing the finger here.
yeah,
I'm just saying that us artists, or any of you out there
sure.
that are looking at entering this mothership, think twice before you get in, because we've experienced and we got it worse. Like,
What would your recommendation be, and what would you say to artists in regards to the path, a better path, I guess, to
a
take?
better path to me, and thank you for asking that question, is go independent.
Okay.
You got the internet right now that you can make money. You can self-manage yourself. You can actually self-promote yourself.
Normally in these cases, Joe, warnings come before destruction.
Absolutely.
What was the warnings that you had seen prior to knowing what's coming here?
There's a lot of things that a lot of artists need to open your eyes and see what's going on behind the scenes.
Sure.
Besides the business side of it.
I'm sort of getting a bit scared, because I want to know, but do I really want to know?
You will see it when you're in there. It's
Okay.
it's taboo
Yeah, right.
to an extent, for the fact that this is how these motherships survive and
Yeah.
do what they do,
By any means necessary.
by all means necessary.
Okay.
And as for the artist, to open your eyes and understand and realize and see it for yourself, and you make your decision straight away if you belong here, or a better way to make a future with music. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it first. So, okay. Look, and in saying that, is there anything, and we're sort of drawing to the end of this podcast, and I know it's been quite choppy, and because there's so much that I'd love to find out and ask, but maybe another time. Is there anything you would change on your journey? Is there anything that you would, or did you enjoy this whole, going through it with the way you did, and being young, being vulnerable, and just experiencing?
Absolutely. Like, I had a lot of people saying to me, do you regret leaving?
Yeah, yeah.
And I said to them, I replied to them like saying, no, because I knew what I came in to do.
Sure.
And right now I know where I'm at, because I saw it, I've seen it, and I'm not liking what I'm seeing. So
Sure.
I'm going to make it better for myself independently. Just be careful, choose wisely.
On a softer note, the currently the activities, I know Jay is still
pushing his solo career, and so the outcome of what happened to us, Jay continued on. He started a new band,
Yes.
Power, and now he's working on some, further on his
Sure.
career in
Yeah,
music as a solo artist. Richie has moved on as well.
Well, I actually spoke. I obviously from the first episode we did, I got to speak.
Oh, you have? Okay.
To Richie, but still a gentleman and still pure at heart, and just
absolutely
beautiful guy, and no regrets. Like the first thing is like it is what it is. You guys did what you did, and it was for him it was something prayed for and something granted. But again, sometimes you got to be careful what you wish for, because
that's all it was. Eric is in a good space. Like, he's actually getting himself back in there, doing some singing, some gigging.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's
awesome.
And myself, I'm still.
And you're here doing
I'm talking to you right now, but I'm still making music on the side.
Mate, I think it's been, Joe, I was hoping to do three episodes. I said to you, we're going to do part one.
You did.
We're going to do this one and then your management, and that's it. But obviously there's so much more to it, and we're just going to play it by ear. And again, guys, if I just want to thank the people out there again for viewing. The response I received on the first one was unbelievable. Thank you very much. Joe, I just want to thank you again, mate, for coming in and
thank you, man.
Sitting down and trying to work our way through management and everything else that this industry has done. And in some ways, and in saying that, I also understand that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, because your daughter had to picked up where you sort of.
Yes, I'm blessed with a daughter that sings as well. So at the moment we're working on her
and I've seen some of her stuff. Amazing. Like,
thank you.
Awesome, man.
Look out for it.
Yeah, well, there you go, guys.
That's my girl.
How can I forget? I'm looking at Mustafa,
the cameraman.
This guy is just amazing. Thank you so much for your patience, and I'd recommend you to anyone, but I won't, because I'm gonna keep you just for the secret, mate. So, just kidding. But guys, thank you very much. Please,
thank you.
Subscribe. Please comment. Hit Joe up for any. I think there's other podcasts, mate, that would love to sit down and
see how we go.
Drain you from.
See how we go.
Cheers, my bro. Thank you, Mustafa. Thank you very much. People out there, thank you. God bless, and stay safe. The secret. Yeah, I think so. I think this is the most confusing one I've done. It's so much shit. Like, there's just so much.
We've been trying to squeeze everything.
And it's got its each actually has an entity on its own. Like, I just feel like management is one show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Publishing is.
You heard Russell.
Yeah,
the angle that